find other great podcasts like this one at podmoth.network.
You had a story you wanted to tell?
Oh, yeah. So, I know you're not into spiders, and neither am I.
No.
But okay. So I went over to my boyfriend Chris's the other night, and I'm walking up some steps to get to like a grassy area before you walk over to the apartment. And I see kind of a frantic looking person in front of me. And they are like, what is that? Do you see that? It was a fucking tarantula.
What?
And I go, yeah, just out in the open.
Oh no!
On the streets of Portland. And I was
what
like,
are you guys up to down there?
I go, that's a tarantula.
Yo.
And they go, what do we do? And I was like,
Nothing.
I don't know. And in my head, though, I was like, I can't do anything. I'm in sandals.
I can't do anything. I'm in sandals.
Which is a theme in my life.
It's your fucking catchphrase. That's how you're going to keep yourself out of danger.
But really, I was like, what do you expect me to do about this? Like I felt that they were expressing their frustration and like, what do I do about this? But I was like, I think we just do nothing.
You have to. Well, I mean, if you're a spider person, and those people do exist, there are people who legit like spiders, and I respect them. And like, I like snakes, and Joe thinks snakes are bad and is like the one pet he does not want to have. Where I'm like, silky noodle that gives kisses with its tongue.
No, I hate them.
Love them. Love these snakes. But some people feel that way about spiders. And if you were a spider person, perhaps you could have gotten some receptacle to, I don't know, but what do you do with a tarantula? There's no setting it out in the wild. Is Portland its natural habitat? I don't think so.
No, tarantulas definitely, they're not supposed to be out and about. So
on the streets of a city? No, I don't think so.
The guy, I think he thought that it was somebody's pet.
That's what I'm thinking.
Loose. But again, I was in sandals. I was a little stoned. I wasn't equipped to deal with it.
I'm stoned. I'm in sandals. What about me says I know the answer to this problem?
Yeah. And it was just so funny. What is that? I was like, that's a tarantula.
Yeah. Are you genuinely asking, or is this a knee-jerk reaction?
I don't know if this person had never seen a tarantula before and was just like, this is one big spider.
You know a tarantula when you see a tarantula.
I thought that was standard practice. But anyway, so I'm like, I get to Chris's house and I'm like, Chris, I just saw a tarantula outside. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, that's really weird. But we kind of just try to like continue on. I'm a little shaken, but I'm okay. And then we get food delivered and I hear a knock at the door. And so I go answer it because we're about to get food. Like normally I wouldn't answer the door at somebody else's house, but we're about to get food delivered. So I assume that's what it is. Mm-hmm. The food was there, but there was also a neighbor there saying, hey, do you own a tarantula?
I do not, but I've seen one.
Yeah, I was like, no, but I saw that earlier. Like, good on you for trying to deal with that situation. Yeah. And then Chris comes out and is like, who was at the door? And I was like, was someone looking for a tarantula? Please don't think that I made this up. Like, I was very worried.
That's the difference between you and I. That would have been the first thing I said to him when I walked in the door. I would have been like, I saw a tarantula.
No, I did. But it was just so funny because why am I the only one seeing and experiencing the tarantula and I don't even live here?
Well, it's like, it seems to me that you're the only one who really doesn't care about the tarantula because the other person was seeking something to do about the tarantula. Then you got a knock on the door about the tarantula. What are you doing for the tarantula, Katelyn?
0. I was hoping it would pass away, actually. But anyway, I'm terrified of walking around out there now because I think that I'm about to see another fucking wild tarantula in the streets of Portland.
In the streets of Portland. This is one of 1 million times I'll say this to you. Closed-toed shoes, Katelyn.
It's a must, yeah. I need to be more conscious of that.
Protect your toesies!
In olden days, I glimpsed her femur was only for morbid dreamers, but you're not alone. Bring anything bones. Two goofy gals with deathly interest go on a skeleton inquest in your headphones. Anything bones.
I'm sorry, I still can't get over the wild spider, the wild tarantula. Those are big too.
It was really awful.
Was it like, big like a fist?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was definitely the size of a fist. Like, not its body, but like with its legs. Yeah. It was so gross.
Holistically.
Yeah. And like I saw a tarantula at the zoo. Like, you know what they look like. There's a tarantula in Home Alone. Like, I don't know. I thought it was something everybody knew.
I thought it was standard practice.
I think they were just panicking.
I mean, I would be all sorts of panicked if I saw a tarantula on the streets of Seattle. I can't say I'd be surprised, though, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that somebody was reunited with their pet, but also, why do you have a tarantula as a pet?
Well, what if it was a street tarantula? And now it's
then
got
I'm
a
terrified.
whole tarantula.
That's bad.
Now it's raising a gang of young, scrappy Victorian children tarantulas to like create a fiefdom where he can pickpocket the other tarantulas. Hello and welcome to Anything Bones. I'm Sophie the Bear Schwartz.
And I am Katelyn. The internet made me do what? Heart. And this is the podcast where we talk about bones and bone-related topics.
And fucking tarantulas. I'll never be over it.
No, I won't either, and I had to see it.
And you had to see it. Well, I have something else that you have to see, which is our podcast on the Atlanta Fringe website.
Please tell me more about this.
Well, it's really cool, actually. If you go look at our podcast is on the website under Fringe Audio for the Atlanta Fringe Festival, the official Fringe Festival of Atlanta. It is in the mature audience section because there is, quote, violence and gore, and you can Venmo us from the website.
Oh, yeah. That was an option, and I was like, sure, I'll put that in. But it seems really cool, like the Fringe Festival, which as maybe non-performers might not know, that's like a festival usually of like comedians, sketch comedians, improv, or, you know,
theater,
maybe stand-up,
straight up theater.
Yeah, it can be a lot of different things. But then this Atlanta Fringe Festival, which neither of us have been to Atlanta, but hey, like, do your thing over there, please.
Yes.
And they have a audio festival, which was something I'd never heard of. And so we're so excited. So there's like 23, 24 other little shows on there too. So yeah, the link is in our bio in our on our social medias.
Yeah, and the other shows look super interesting, and like it's just really cool. This is our first podcast festival. We're out there in the world.
Yeah, we're out in the world, and we'll see what happens.
I'm excited and optimistic. Lots of fun stuff in the works for Bones LLC over here.
Yeah, I've been telling one of my coworkers is about to start listening. So hi, Jenny, if you're listening.
Hey, Jenny. I hope you're having a wonderful day.
Yeah, no, she's really cool. But I also sometimes I'm like, oh my God, are people at work gonna think I'm just like a total weird, foul-mouthed like creep after they hear my podcast? But then I'm like, no, they're cool.
I've shrugged off every time that people have told us that there's a lot of cursing in the podcast, but we are tagged for language.
Well, it just takes one.
It just takes one. Well, in PG-13, you're allowed one fuck, aren't you?
I think we say it more than once, though.
But
typically,
a teen listens to it. At least one teen.
Yeah, my niece.
Was she over She over 13?
Yeah, she's 14 actually.
I knew that.
All right, should we talk about some bony topics?
That's my favorite thing to do, and I wish that you would tell me a bony topic.
Okay. I'll try. But I'm just like kind of bursting out of my skin on this one.
Ooh.
I'm guessing you've heard of this, but I did not prep. For listeners, I haven't prepped Sophie on what I'm doing. How much do you know about Slenderman?
Oh, Katelyn. Oh, Katelyn. Oh, Katelyn. Are we doing this?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm strapping the fuck in.
Yeah. Okay. So many people will remember this was only in 2014 in Wisconsin in, God, I'm going to butcher it. It's spelled, I want to say Waukesha, but it's Waukesha. I know it is.
Kesha?
Yeah, Kesha. Who has a new album? Kesha has a new album, by the way. I need to listen to it.
If she tours again, we're must
going.
go. Yeah,
We're going.
That was one of our first friendship outings, just the two of us, was a Kesha concert. It's seminal.
What's up, 2017?
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, sorry. Totally off topic. Okay, so we're in 2014. We're in Wisconsin. 3 12-year-old girls go into the woods to play hide and seek. And one ends up getting stabbed 19 times in the name of Slenderman. And this is known as the Slenderman stabbing.
Yes. Yes, the Slenderman stabbing. This definitely falls within the cases that are incredibly sad, incredibly interesting, just sucks you in with, because teens, what are they thinking? And they're not fully formed in the brain yet. So they lack that kind of long-term thinking that allows for like these type of crimes. And like as a teen, I totally, not wrapped up in stuff like this, but like definitely convinced myself of some shit.
Yeah. So I'll get my sources out of the way.
Please take us there.
It was gonna give it all away if I said the sources first. I watched the HBO documentary Beware the Slender Man.
Oh my.
Chris was kind enough to watch it with me.
I would need someone to watch it with me.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. All that's interesting, ABC News, and then the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, an article from them. So the 3 girls are Morgan Geyser, Anissa Wire, and Peyton Leutner. Peyton also goes by Bella, which is something that's hard to wrap my brain around. So when they're referring to Peyton and Bella in the documentary, they're interchangeable. It's the same person.
Okay.
And in later articles, like more current stuff, she just goes by Peyton. So I'm not really sure what she goes by currently. Because spoiler alert, and this is a great spoiler alert, she fucking survives.
That's the best part about this whole story, is that she survived, which is incredible.
So Morgan Geyser ends up, we find out that she's kind of the ringleader of this whole thing. She was born in May 2002. 2002. That would make her -8 when this happened. So, excuse me. So she's born in May 2002 and allegedly showed a lack of empathy from a young age. There's a story from her mother about them showing her Bambi for the first time and like expecting her to have some kind of reaction when the mom dies in Bambi. Another spoiler alert, everybody. And she apparently was like not fazed by it and was just like, run, Bambi, save yourself, which is like kind of funny to me, honestly. But it just goes to show you that you never really, I think it's hard because you never really know what the right kind of reaction is. And there really isn't one for most things. But it is a little weird, like all these different like experiences from her childhood put together. Like it's like, people didn't really see this coming, but they did know that she was like lacked empathy, was pretty quiet, just kind of kept to herself a lot. And actually, Peyton, the girl that she ends up stabbing, sits down with her one day in 4th grade because, quote, she was sitting all by herself and I didn't think anyone should have to sit by themselves.
Oh, God, this girl is such a sweetheart.
Yep. I have a lot of quotes in this from her because there's some more recent articles that she's quoted in. And Morgan had like struggled to make friends. So Peyton, kind of felt sorry for her. She seemed like a happy person, kind of lonely, but she thought everybody deserves a friend. So they ended up becoming like best friends in fourth grade. They would have sleepovers, play outside, draw. Peyton said, quote, all the things that kids do.
Aww.
Yeah. Peyton says about Morgan, quote, she was funny. I'll give you that. She had a lot of jokes to tell. She was great at drawing and her imagination always kept things fun. So in about sixth grade, that's when everything kind of changes for Morgan and Peyton. Morgan becomes friends with another girl, Anissa Wire, in sixth grade. And apparently it's not really clear who introduces Slenderman to the other one, but one way or the other, they both start to develop this obsession with this internet mythical character called Slenderman.
And I want to add, like, in this time, like, this is like, was this like 2013, 2012?
2013, 2014, yeah.
Yeah, these like online, like, they're called like creepypastas. Which
That's
is funny
where
because,
it came from.
Yeah, because it's like it's a technical term in this actual story, but like these online stories that are written on, message boards, some of which don't even exist today.
Oh, yeah.
That were very popular, and some of them were incredibly scary. And they're written on these websites with black background and red text, and you're staying up in the middle of the night on the family computer reading creepypasta.
Yep.
This was not like a super unusual thing to be into.
No, not at all. Yeah. And creepypasta is like a website that was kind of a place where people could go to write scary stories. It was kind of like almost like fan fiction, but for just like creepy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it was fiction. Like a lot of it was just like original stories, but there was a lot of interesting kind of sharing and building among these websites where you would have someone write something like Slenderman. Because do you go into where Slenderman comes from?
I was just gonna tell you.
Go for it.
So this was from the documentary. So I can't remember the exact year that it happened, but Slenderman basically just came out of a photoshopping contest, which is so wild. So the challenge was to take like old-timey photos of kids playing or just like people in general and put something in the background that's like you can't tell that it doesn't quite belong, but it's creepy. So they end up being these kind of like creatures in the back of these photos that are just kind of stretched out, really thin, faceless figures. And so that evolves into this character named Slenderman, who anybody who's like our age in their 30s or a little bit younger is probably going to know who Slenderman is. I don't know if the teens of today still know who Slenderman is, but here you go.
I feel like, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like he had a resurgence, maybe.
Oh, yeah? I don't know.
Ask
I couldn't
the
tell you the
teen.
current.
I don't know any teens. You know a teen.
You're right. I'll ask next time I see my teen niece. So Slenderman, for those who are not aware, is like this very tall, lanky figure who's always in a suit, like a black suit, faceless, like white, faceless figure. And sometimes he has like really extended limbs and is like freakishly tall, like 14 feet tall.
Weird fingers on this man, too.
Yeah, super weird fingers. Sometimes he has tendrils that shoot out of the back of his like body and can get you. There are also some versions of Slenderman where he's like a friend to like the lonely and like sad people.
Well, I mean, it's the internet, and you always have, like, this was also very characteristic of this time, but I feel like teen girls probably still do this, but, like, this was also peak Tumblr man sexy era.
Yep, exactly.
So, like, Slenderman was creepy, but to some, he was sexy.
And, just weird.
You know, I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum, but it was in that time when everyone's like, I want a disturbed, lanky white man to make me feel special. Me, a 14-year-old girl from the suburbs.
Yeah. The documentary goes into it with a little bit more nuance, but like basically the like Tumblrs and like chat rooms and this community around Slenderman was supposedly like this haven for kind of lonely people, or like they could read about Slenderman and feel like they were, you know, part of something, part of a community, or like Slenderman was going to take care of them or something.
Well, it's a community. It's a fandom. Like you were saying, like it started off as fiction and then became fan fiction.
Mm-hmm. So that is Slenderman. They've made movies about it. They have made video games about it. Like, it's all out there.
Slenderman has a very strong brand.
Strong brand, strong presence.
I would say so.
At least he did. We don't know about the current Slenderman situations. I'm sure there are still people into it.
Yeah.
Peyton and Morgan like continue to be friends throughout this time where Anissa and Morgan are getting more and more into Slenderman. But Peyton is later going to say that she, quote, saw the change from 5th to 6th grade when Morgan met Anissa. That's when I was really wanting to get out of that friendship. This is what she said later. So
yeah,
that didn't happen at the time. But she, like, looking back, with, you know, what she knows now, she knows that this was kind of the beginning of the end. But she truly didn't see anything like this coming, because how could you?
No, yeah, why would you? I mean, I don't know about you, but like my teen experience was speckled with a lot of teen girl on teen girl cruelty.
Mm-hmm.
Teen girls have a powerful influence over each other. Mm-hmm. Like there's a lot you can get yourself into by wanting to fit in with other teen girls. And like teen girls, people always get down on what teen girls are interested in. It's always often seen as the most bottom of the barrel of media, music, anything like that. But teen girls have this entire inner world of social structure and tension, and like everybody's hormoning, everybody's vying for like teen girl dominance. You know, I don't want this to sound like Mean Girls. I'm talking about like the fragile growing of your psyche being influenced by rigid social structure.
In most cases, you know, there's some people come out of it relatively unscathed, but there are certain, like, this is not an uncommon thing, like teen girls ganging up on each other like to physically hurt them. So it's like, unfortunately, it's an exception, not the rule, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't know. This is just like so fucked up. And it's hard because we've both been teen girls. So it's like, I remember it's so easy to get obsessed with things, and like it makes you feel like a part of a community, you know, liking a musician or an like actor or whatever. Like, yeah, you feel it makes you feel important and empowered. Yeah, definitely.
And like kind of what we're talking about, it can like be fixated on something as innocent as One Direction, or it can go Slenderman. When I was in a group of, you know, teen girls, it was diet culture. We were deep in the diet culture of Tumblr, and we would police each other's eating habits. We would, you know, tell each other how much we ate in a day and show each other our MyFitnessPals, and whoever had the lowest calories was winning, basically. So, like, when I say that I can understand how this happened, I understand. Yeah. Like,
yeah. It's just, whew.
But that's the power. What I'm trying to illustrate is that, like, people downplay teen girls a lot and don't give them credit for the power and influence they have over each other.
Definitely. And there's a little bit, I mean, I was going to get into this later, but it's like, it's a little bit of nature versus nurture, like these impossible questions. Like, would Morgan and Anissa have been violent if they had never met? Like, I think that they probably wouldn't have gotten into this amount of trouble if they hadn't met, because it seems like they had a very like codependent, but also like they were egging each other on kind of relationship where in the end you don't really know whose idea this was. It just like has snowballed into this big mess.
I mean, I can see that completely.
So Peyton said about Anissa Quote, I didn't like Anissa at all. I just hung out with her because I knew that Morgan really loved her as a friend, but she was always cruel to me. I feel like she was jealous that Morgan was friends with me and her. Which is something that can play into it. Jealousy is a big thing in friend groups
especially of three
Yep.
teen girls being friends with each other. Ooh, I was in one of those. The teen girls have to be very, very, like, the friendship must be strong. Like, that's me, Jackie, and Odessa. We met as teen girls. Mm-hmm. But we did meet at Shakespeare Camp where everyone was a fucking nerd. So, like...
That helps.
It helped extremely well. Not that nerds can't, do this kind of shit, but...
Of course, yeah.
I digress.
In a lot of hobbies or obsessions or whatever you want to call it, you can have a creative outlet that is safe.
Yeah.
Or you can have some kind of outlet that's, that's like appropriate. But this, trying to kill somebody is not obviously not appropriate.
We saved all our killing for the stage.
Yes. Stage combat, check.
Yes.
Morgan and Anissa were actually plotting this stabbing/murder for months. And they did it, like, kind of in front of Peyton and in public. Like, they had code words for talking about it so that people wouldn't know what they were talking about.
This is the most teen girl thing ever.
Right? And it all had to do with Slenderman, like we were talking about. So what did they want? Or what specifically was going on with Slenderman for them? So they thought that Slenderman was, like, out to get them or out to get their family. / they also wanted to be his proxy, they call him, or servant or like apprentice.
Oh, yes. They wanted to be picked and special by Slender.
Yes.
Man.
Yeah. But they were also afraid of him in some versions of their stories. So
of course,
it's either they want to serve him or they were afraid that he was going to kill them or their families if they didn't appease him in some way. But they also wanted to live in Slenderman's mansion, which apparently, like, a bunch of creepypasta characters live in this mansion in the middle of the forest in Wisconsin.
This sounds like hooey, but I have heard of this.
Yep. Yeah. Takes us back right to 2014.
I am literally getting, like, painful flashbacks.
Yeah. Yeah. Not that it really makes sense, because it's never going to make sense, but that was their reasoning behind planning this. So they decide to do the deed at Morgan's 12th birthday party.
Because what an occasion.
Mm-hmm. So it's May 30th, 2014, and the three of them had gone skating at the roller rink. They had frozen yogurt, and then they were going to have a sleepover at Morgan's house. And this is so sad. Peyton, like I said, looking back, thinks about this event, this party leading up to the stabbing. And she's like, something was off, but I don't know. I couldn't tell what it was.
No, because
Again,
you're a 12-year-old girl.
12.
And you don't have murder radar when you're 12.
No, she's so, like, and I'm going to read some quotes from her later. She's so, like, genuinely kind, it seems like, and just really just, like, trusting. And she just wanted to be Morgan's friend. Like, it was what it boils down to.
God.
Anyway, so the original plan, and this is pretty sick, they were going to duct tape Peyton's mouth in the middle of the night and stab her at Morgan's house. And then they decided not to do that. So then they were like, well, we'll take her to a park nearby and we'll kill her in the public bathroom because there'll be a drain that her blood can go down. Like, this is like such a level of planning and like strategizing that's just like so wild to me.
Yeah.
So in the bathroom, Anissa like tried to knock out Peyton by like hitting her head against the wall because she had heard that it was easier to kill somebody when they're asleep or unconscious.
Easier for who?
The murderer.
Of course.
And that didn't work. And so they're passing this off as some kind of game with Peyton.
Where they hit her head against a wall?
Yeah. So then they say, oh, let's go for a walk. We're going to do this in the woods, like And they tell Peyton to lay down and cover herself with leaves because they're playing hide and seek.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah. And this is when Morgan, who had brought a kitchen knife with her from her house, she stabs her friend 19 times in the arms, legs, and torso.
It's so fucked up that like children can do this kind of thing.
Oh yeah, it's a lot. This is a rough one. Peyton is conscious and is, saying like, what are you doing? You guys why did you, you lied to me. Like, why are you doing this? She doesn't really remember all of the details. Obviously, she was losing a lot of blood. Yeah. But Anissa said, we'll go get help. No, you fucking won't. And they just left her there in the woods. And they had backpacks full of stuff because now that they've done their deed, they're going to go find Slenderman's mansion.
Oh, good. I'm glad that the plan didn't stop with the murder.
Oh, no, that was just the beginning. So they take off and they're going to find the mansion. Peyton it's incredible. She is able to crawl out of the woods into the open, and she's found by a passing bicyclist who calls 911. She ends up going to the hospital and she gets 6 hours of emergency surgery. She had been stabbed, like I said, in the arms and legs, which had only damaged soft tissue. But 2 of the stab wounds had hit major organs in her torso area, including her liver and stomach. And another one had missed her heart by a millimeter, or missed a major artery near her heart by a millimeter.
Ugh, that's so scary.
Yeah. But so moving right along here, because this is wild. So before Peyton is even out of surgery, the girls have been found. Thank God. They're just wandering. They're just wandering down the highway. And so people like call 911 when they see them and are like, you guys, come on. And so they are brought to the police station and immediately they both confess. And this is when you can see in the documentary, you can see their interviews with police. And it is so matter of fact. And again, I've said this before, like you can't, especially in like scary situations or situations where there's a lot of anxiety, you can't necessarily predict how somebody's going to react. We've said this before, like a family member dies and the person doesn't like immediately cry and scream and all this stuff. Like you don't know how people are going to process things, but the coldness, the way they both describe this is like really scary.
Oh.
And they're both kind of deflecting, like, oh, it was Anissa's idea, says Morgan. Oh, and Morgan's idea, Anissa says, like they're both sort of diverting blame from themselves. But ultimately, Morgan is the one that like did the stabbing. But they are both arrested and charged with attempted first-degree intentional homicide. And they are tried as adults.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, because even though they're 12, this is a pretty serious situation. So Anissa pled guilty to a lesser charge, and she was found not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. And she was sentenced to 25 years in a mental health institution. She actually got out in 2021.
Oh, I think I heard about that, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't know how I feel about this because she was a child when this happened, and I think rehabilitation is very possible, and I hope that she has been rehabilitated. But it gives me pause.
For sure, but like, I know I'm a completely different person than I was when I was 12.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And she's required to live with her father, receive psychiatric treatment. She's agreed to GPS monitoring and limited internet access. So Morgan also pled guilty to that original first-degree charge and was also found not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. She was given a sentence of 40 years in a mental health institution. And actually, this is adding another layer. While she's in custody, she is diagnosed, this is Morgan, the one who did the stabbing, she's diagnosed with early onset schizophrenia, which her father also has.
Oh, God. Poor thing.
Yeah. So that just adds another layer to it. And it's so hard because not everybody who has schizophrenia is a murderer.
No.
People with schizophrenia are generally, like 99% of the time, are non-violent.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this till the day I die, but people who are mentally ill are more likely to be the victim of a crime than commit a crime.
it just adds another layer to it where obviously she wasn't completely in charge of her faculties. So I think that the ruling was actually appropriate.
Yeah, it was interesting that you when you said the ruling, I was like, that is interesting. And then when you said that she had that diagnosis, I was like, that, that paints a more complete picture. I feel like, and I feel like especially with children, you have to be so compassionate of like mental illness, because like, I don't know, it's so difficult because I think, like I was saying, you change so much between 12 and adulthood.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, I hope that there has been change and growth and remorse for these actions. Yeah. So Morgan actually in June of 2022 sent a petition to the court hoping to serve out the rest of her sentence in a community setting, which would have required 3 doctors to like sign off on it. And obviously we don't have the details of the report. It's protected. But the first report was submitted and then she like immediately withdrew the petition. So she is still in the mental health institution in Wisconsin that she was sentenced to.
Well, hopefully that's a place where she can get the help that she needs.
I hope so too. As for Peyton, she is doing like as well as can be expected. She was interviewed on 2020 in like, I want to say 2019 maybe. And she's just really sweet. Like she says that, she's trying to lead a normal life despite everything that happened, but that it's really hard to trust people.
Yeah.
But she has sympathy not only for Morgan but also for Morgan's family, because she was quoted talking about Morgan's mother and how people are terrible to her, saying that oh, what did you do to raise a daughter like Morgan? And Peyton's like, well, she has schizophrenia, like her mom didn't have anything to do with that, like
yeah, that's genetic.
Yeah, so it's like you can't. Peyton is like advocating like you shouldn't be mean to her mom and her parents because they didn't do anything wrong. And she also like is sharing advice to other young people who are in friendships that they are not comfortable in. She said, quote, "Get out before something bad happens to you. Even if you're guilted into it, if you've been friends with them for years, if you feel something is bad, you need to get out while you still can."
Oh, that's great advice.
Yeah, if something is not right, you do not have to be a people pleaser and stay friends with people that make you feel bad or make you do things that you don't want to do.
Yeah, that's not a real friend.
No. So nobody died in this one, which I'm actually very happy about.
Yes.
But I think it was a bone-related topic.
Yes.
Just, it was generally in the wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm not going to sleep for days, and I'm going to have trust issues going forward.
Wonderful telling of a really complicated and upsetting story that has a happy ending, mm-hmm. and that has, I love that Peyton is reaching out to other people, like, about having healthy friendships.
Mm-hmm. We love Peyton. We wish nothing but the best for Peyton. And I honestly hope that Morgan and Anissa are getting the help that they need.
Yeah. Amen.
Well, Slenderman is not anywhere involved in this podcast, but I do want everybody to just like be careful and be aware and go into this ad break with your wits about you, because, he could pop out any second.
I got the dogs with me.
Working can be such a drag, but it's a necessary evil.
What better way to combat the woes of the working world than to commiserate with your fellow man?
I'm Jay.
And I'm Kay.
And we're the hosts of Fuck My Work Life, a comedy podcast where we share people's stories from the workplace.
Whether they're funny, weird, scary, or just plain messed up, they're always entertaining and may leave you thinking you don't have it so bad after all.
Available on all major podcast platforms. Give us a listen. Your sanity may just depend on it.
Well, I've had the dogs check the entire house for spookies, ghosts, poltergeists, zombies, demons, vampires, and we did throw Robert Pattinson out to the curb.
Yeah, that's fair enough. He doesn't deserve to be in your home.
I mean, he doesn't, but while we were kicking him out, he did scream, "I'm also Batman!" And we were like,
maybe.
"Oh, fuck, yeah." Well, Joe was like, "Get him back! Wait, was Batman here?" I'm like, no.
No, it was Edward Cullen.
No, it was Edward Cullen. You don't like him. I gotta get him to finish the Twilight movies with me. We're stuck on, I think, Eclipse. And Breaking Dawn is the wildest one.
And there's 2 of them.
And only one of them has the CGI baby, though.
True. She is born at the end of the first one.
Yeah, and I don't think you even see her terrifying face until part 2.
Maybe. I honestly, it's been a minute since I watched Breaking Dawn. And by a minute, I mean, it hasn't been 3 months since I saw it last, probably. But I don't remember if you see the little creepy baby face or not in part 1.
You just hear Bella's back breaking in half.
That is nasty.
It's nasty, but you have to mention it every time. Never forget.
This is a podcast called Anything Bones.
Exactly. So let's get into my topic.
Okay.
Now, I promised you that I would bring you something light.
Okay.
And the last time I promised you that, I brought you a train that kills children.
Yeah, Death Avenue
recall.
wasn't as light as I was thinking.
No, I thought the name was fun.
Yeah, it is.
But the reality of Death Avenue was quite grim. This, I swear to you, is truly light.
Okay, I won't hold you to it. I won't hold you to that, actually.
All right. So we are going to be talking about a very renowned Polish war hero.
Okay.
So my sources for this are Wikipedia, Washington Post, and The Collector. Oh, and Time.com.
Do you have time for time?
I almost didn't. All right. So Wojtek was born shortly before 1942, and he was discovered in the mountains of Iran by a group of Polish prisoners of war who had just been freed and were being transported from a Siberian gulag through the Middle East to Egypt.
Damn.
Right?
What a situation to find yourself in.
Long walk.
Yeah, ouch. I mean, it's cold, so
Exactly.
Actually.
And around the same time, we have the newly formed Anders Army, which was an army of Polish fighters. And they were going through the same area, and they were being deported to the Soviet Union following the 1939 Soviet invasion of Eastern Poland.
Okay.
So, you follow me? We got 2 groups of people.
Walking,
Just
passing by.
converging. Yeah. So little did these people know that this convergence would have Wojtek join the ranks of the Polish army and become a war hero who would be remembered to this day for his bravery. And the fact that he was a bear.
Oh my god. Not a bear in the circus. A bear in the army.
An army bear.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
I told you it was going to be lighter.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad.
You're crying.
I'm glad that a bear joined the army at one point, and I wonder if he's the only one. Or she. I don't know.
This, I hope, will be a multi-part series that I bring you. This will be part 1 of like hero animals.
Love
because
that.
I definitely found hero dogs. I know that there's a hero cat.
Oh yeah.
That was in the Navy. We love a sailor cat. Very Skimbleshanks of you. So yeah, hopefully I'll be bringing you more hero animals. But for now, we have Corporal Wojtek,
I love
the
him.
army bear.
I love him.
I know, he's amazing. So, these 2 groups that I was just talking about are converging at the railroad station in Hamadan, Iran, on April 8th, 1942. And the Polish soldiers, while they're waiting around at the railway station, see a young Iranian boy who has this bear cub that they found on their journey.
Okay.
And one of the other refugees there, a Polish refugee named Irina, who was actually the great niece of a Polish general, was like completely enamored by this bear cub. And she goes over to Lieutenant Antonal Tarawinowek and is like, hey, you should buy this bear to like take with us, like while we're going from refugee camp to refugee camp, figuring out what we're fucking doing.
Sure, why not?
And he was like, yeah, I'll do it. And so then they spend the next 3 months in a Polish refugee camp near Tehran, and Irina cares for this bear.
Oh my God. It's so dangerous. It could have gone so wrong so fast.
I know, right? So in August, this bear gets donated to the 2nd Transport Company, which later will become the 2nd Artillery Supply Company. That's important.
Okay.
And it's at this time that he gets the name Wojtek by the soldiers. And this is like a shortened version of a longer Polish name, which means happy warrior.
Oh my God.
I know.
Okay, so this lady that was so enamored with the bear eventually is like, whatever, I'll sell him.
Well, I'm guessing it probably wasn't her choice.
I guess, yeah, you're probably right.
The soldiers were probably like, we want the bear. And she's like, okay.
Yeah, or, she needed money to buy food or something.
Or she had to go somewhere the bear couldn't go.
I shouldn't jump to conclusions.
No judging Irina, okay?
Maybe she died. I don't know.
Maybe she fucking died. How do you feel now? No.
Bad.
No,
she did die. She is dead.
She is dead. Yeah, she's probably dead. So poor Wojtek had problems with swallowing whole foods initially because he's literally a baby bear.
Oh.
So they fed him condensed milk from an old vodka bottle.
Sure.
Because, they're Polish. He was also given fruit, marmalade, which is very Paddington of him.
Extremely.
Honey, syrup. And this I don't like as much, but it really happened. He used to drink a good amount of beer.
Oh, I think that bear just needed like fish and water, like in nature, but I'm glad they were doing the most for him.
Yeah, they were giving this bear beer, and it says here that he loved to smoke and sometimes eat lit cigarettes.
Okay, less good.
Less good. He also drank coffee.
Okay.
Which I do, but I wouldn't recommend for a bear. Why are we giving the bear caffeine?
Yeah, the bear doesn't need caffeine at all, I don't think.
There's a great quote from one of the soldiers about Wojtek. He says, quote, he would accept lit cigarettes, take a puff, and then swallow them.
That's all you need. Puff, puff, pass it into my belly.
And I mean, this is kind of sad. This one's kind of sad, but like another soldier said, quote, he loved to drink from a beer bottle, and when it was empty, he would look through the opening to see where the rest of the beer was.
Oh, he's like, more. Give me more.
More. This stuff is addictive.
Yeah, I'm just a little bear.
I'm just a bear. But here's another cute thing. He used to cuddle up with the soldiers on cold nights.
Okay, that's really sweet. I do question the soldiers that were sleeping with a bear, though.
They were also running into fields of machine gun fire.
I guess, yeah. It's like you're gonna die one way or the other. Might as well go out in your sleep with a bear.
That's what I was saying. Or that's what I was having similar wonderings as you, and I was talking to Joe about it, and he was like, A, they were in war, and B, like, I don't know, I was like, why are they giving the bear alcohol? Like, that's not acceptable. He was like, they're soldiers in the 40s. They don't know any better. I'm like, for sure.
It's a fair point.
I still don't approve. So he loved wrestling and playing games with the soldiers, and they even taught him how to salute when he was greeted.
Oh, I would love to see that.
right? And he was a real morale booster for soldiers and civilians alike, because it was Polish soldiers, but also Polish refugees. So, like, this bear served as kind of a mascot, and, like, you know how much joy an animal can bring you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it would be a little bit of, like, fear and wonder, like, oh, the Polish army has a bear. I'm gonna go check that out, but I'm scared.
Also, if you're a Nazi, the Polish army have a bear.
Yeah, I mean, it's intimidating.
Yeah, I love it. Eat the Nazis, bear.
Yeah, I mean, if the bear eats Nazis, then we've got a perfect bear in the army situation.
I can't for sure say that this bear ate Nazis.
No, of course.
That was the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
So with the 22nd Company, he moved to Iraq, and then to Syria, and then to Palestine, and then to Egypt. So this is one well-traveled bear.
Yeah.
One of the games that they would play with the bear is they would use oranges for grenade practice, and they would play fetch with the bear.
Oh my God.
This is also one of my favorite things, is that so during his time in, like, the barracks, this bear learned...
The barracks?
The barracks.
It's too much.
It's too much. Is it too much or not enough?
It's everything.
This bear is everything, because he would break into the showers.
Oh my God. What a menace.
And he could turn on the showers on his own. And, like, this is World War II. So everything is being rationed everywhere, including water.
Fuck.
So this bear is causing water shortages for the Polish army. And they're, like, running into the shower after him, being like, no, stop.
Stop doing this.
Can we zip tie this thing shut or what? Like, like, the bear has figured out how to turn on the showers, and it's become a real problem for the Polish army.
And he probably liked doing it because of the attention. That's what I found with animals. They like doing things that are bad because it gets your attention.
I know. We're looking after 4 dogs at the moment, 2 of which are not our own, are a friend's dogs, who are kind of like our dogs. We look after them a lot, but they, one of them, Forrest, is, I don't know what his deal is, but at 3 or 4 in the morning, almost every night, he takes it upon himself to, like, get up and, like, reposition on the bed, but he's so lanky and noodly. He's a Vizsla, if you want to look it up. They're these silky, lanky dogs. But his noodly little ass wants to wiggle into the covers right between the two of us. And it wakes us both up, and then we both are up for the next 2 hours till we both have to get up for work. We're like, God damn it, Forrest. Everyone in the house is getting annoyed with Forrest. All of the other dogs have, like, Aspen, who he lives with, made, like, you know that bumpy face that dogs make when they are like, leave me alone, like, grr.
Yeah.
She made bumpy face at him earlier, and then Kuno made bumpy face at him, and Lou has definitely made bumpy face at him, and he almost jumped on my computer, and I made bumpy face at him.
Yeah, it's a household against Forrest. It sounds like.
We are a house united against Forrest.
We will keep Forrest alive, but we will not enjoy our time with him.
We don't wish any ill will upon this dog. He's just being he's being kind of an annoying butt nugget. What I was going to say is there's another one of my favorite things that they taught this bear to do is to pick up rookie recruits to the army by the boots and pretend like he was going to eat them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's intimidating.
Oh, it's super intimidating. But apparently he would like give them kisses on the face and not eat them.
But nobody else is going to know that.
No. Are you guys having puppy dog fight club back there? Stop it. I know. Forrest's a real jerk. I was just talking about it. Come here. Kuno. Come here. So after being in a holding pattern for so long, our company is shipped off to Europe. In this time around 1942, a pact was made with Stalin so that Polish people could fight for the Allied forces. So from Egypt, the Polish Second Corps was reassigned to go fight with the British Eighth Army against the Italians.
Okay.
And so they're using British transport ships to get there. And the British are like, no. No pets, no mascots on the ship.
But Wojtek is a member of the army.
But he's a bear. Yeah. And so to get around this stupid no pets bullshit, Wojtek was actually officially drafted into the Polish army as a private and put on the manifest of the ship as one of the soldiers of the 22nd Artillery Supply Company. Yeah.
I love it.
You're not going to let him on? He is a soldier.
Yeah, so fuck you.
So fuck you.
I was kind of hoping you were going to say that they tried to sneak him on board and like pass him off as a soldier or something.
Well, like the thing is that like how like I'll talk a little bit about how he was transported, but like what's that conversation like when you've tried it with the bear once before because we know the restrictions? What do you do the second time? You have him in the crate and you're just pushing it in. They're like, we fucking told you, no bear. They're like, there's not a bear in there. There's a soldier in there.
Yeah.
Like, I guess. Well, it worked.
I'm glad it worked.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Because as an enlisted soldier of the Polish army, he had his own money, which he was paid. Which was used to buy his food.
Money?
Yeah.
Oh, buy his food. Okay.
No. They paid him money and then they used that money to buy him food.
Okay, sure. Did they actually put the money in the bear's paw? Probably not.
I mean, he had handlers, but I would like to think that it was in like a little vest. And he's like, excuse me, let me get my wallet. Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, time to get my bear money supply. It's time to go get some marmalade for this guy.
For fucking Wojtek. Yeah, and he had a rank, he had a serial number, and he, like I said, he lived with all the other enlisted men in a tent with them or in a wooden crate when he was traveling. There's a fun story about when they got to Europe. He would ride in the back of the ammunition truck.
Nice.
And one day it was like really hot and they were passing by like the Italian sea. Wojtek looked at the water and was like, hell yeah. And
I want to get in there.
Yeah, jumped out of the truck and started bounding towards the beach that had people on it.
Oh my God.
Can you even imagine?
Nope. Worse than seeing a tarantula in the wild. A bear running towards you in the wild.
Yeah, talk about animals where they're not supposed to be.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me, you need to watch out for bears on the Italian coast. But he had himself a little swim, then got back in the truck.
Oh my God.
And they went about their day because that's the life they were living.
Yeah, we have to live by the bear's schedule, I'm afraid.
Well, I would love to see someone tell the bear that it is not swim time.
Of course, yeah. Oh, you're gonna go get the bear from the water? Yeah, I'd like to see you try.
He can't swim?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'll be over here. Getting ready to bury your corpse. There's your bones for you.
Yeah, there it is.
So upon arriving to Europe to fight against the Italians, the 22nd Company is already kind of like in the shit. And they participate in a battle called the 1944 Battle of Monte Cassino. C-A-S-S-I-N-O.
Casino?
Monte Cassino in Italy. And at this time, the Allies had been trying to break down the German lines at Monte Cassino for just under 4 months. And they had tried about 3 times to like break this line with like forward moving assault, and they were not able to do it. Enter our 22nd Artillery Company with Wojtek, who by this time is 200 pounds of Nazi killing bear badassery.
I love it. And he's riding in the artillery van.
And Wojtek is a very smart bear. He's a very strong bear. And so there are crates that hold these 25-pound artillery shells. And some crates have about 100 of these shells, right?
Okay.
So during this battle, they were pinned down and they needed more help reloading. And so Wojtek, seeing the soldiers taking these crates, which one crate took 4 soldiers to transport, Wojtek sees these guys doing this and goes, well, I'm going to help. And so he starts picking up these crates of ammunition and bringing them to where they need to be loaded.
Oh, that's cute. Thanks.
Yeah.
You're so strong.
He's so strong. He's doing the work of 4 men.
Damn.
And like his help was integral to them breaking through the German line. And for his service in this battle, he's actually promoted to the rank of corporal.
Yes, Corporal Bear.
Which means he outranks his caretaker.
Yes, perfect.
Which we love. Wojtek was such a important part of this company that they, after this battle, they changed their symbol to be that of a bear carrying an artillery shell, which I will send you right now.
Okay. For check.
And also some other pictures of him being cute.
Aw, I love the little logo. Oh,
right?
Little bear. Oh my god. I love Wojtek. I love this bear. This is like not even real.
I sent her. There's a picture of Wojtek as a smaller bear cub with a soldier, and he's kind of just like hanging out. And then I sent one of my favorites, which is Wojtek on what I believe is a fucking motorcycle with a guy in the sidecar, which is like
and he's
premium comedy.
And he's kind of got his arm around the guy who's like reading a map. It's just, and his expression, he's looking right at camera. It's just so good.
He's a perfect ham. I love him.
Oh man, Wojtek for life.
Wojtek for life. So, Wojtek, speaking of Wojtek's life, so Wojtek makes it through this war, fighting alongside his Polish comrades. Yeah. And by the end of the war, unfortunately, though, getting home is a little more complicated than it would be for troops of other countries because they had to deal with the beginning of the fall of the Iron Curtain over the part of Europe that they were trying to get back to.
Uh-oh.
And the hard thing is that even though the Allies were partnered with the Soviets, the Soviet regime is as oppressive as the Nazis. So we're really trading one regime for another at this point. And the men of the 22nd Company had a real fear that if they brought Wojtek back, he would become a symbol of communism, which is kind of the exact opposite of what they would want because they were fighting for freedom.
Sure.
And it also proved a lot more complicated getting him back to Poland.
Oh.
And getting the men back there as well. So in 1945, they start sending the troops back to Britain to be like demobilized or disbanded.
Mm-hmm.
And they send Wojtek along first to Scotland, to this little farm that's near the village of Hutton.
Sure.
Yeah. And although his fellow members of the 22nd Company were not able to follow him, he made so many friends in this little Scottish village. Everyone loved him.
I bet.
Yeah.
Wojtek. Beloved wherever he goes.
Exactly. And the Polish-Scottish Association made him an honorary member.
Oh.
And following the demobilization of his unit on November 15th, 1947, Wojtek was officially given to the Edinburgh Zoo, where he lived out the rest of his life and was visited by his old unit members, some of which were able to come back and visit him.
That's
and
really cute.
They gave him like hugs and like wrestled with him again, and he totally recognized them when they spoke Polish to him.
That's so sweet. I wish we had footage of that.
I know. And he would still salute when people saluted him.
Oh my god. That's great. Poor Czech.
Wojtek, he lived out a wonderful, peaceful retirement until 1963 when he did pass away at the age of 21.
I don't know how long bears live, but that seems like a pretty good life for a bear.
Yeah. And it's possible that his death was in small part due to the esophagus damage that he had from swallowing cigarettes.
Yeah, that definitely couldn't have helped anything at all.
But on the day of his death, a British national broadcaster announced on air, quote, "With regret, the death of a famous Polish soldier, Wojtek."
Oh.
And there's, of course, a bronze statue of the bear that was unveiled in Edinburgh in 2015. And the Polish people love Wojtek. He is a huge symbol to them.
Sure. He's awesome.
He's awesome. There are a lot of statues of him. There are children's books about him. He's a kick-ass bear.
God damn. We love Wojtek. We love bears.
We love Wojtek. We love bear. So, I must ask you, Katelyn, was that nice and light?
It was, actually. It was. You nailed it.
Hell yeah. Well, you gotta follow teen attempted murder somehow.
Yeah. Slenderman had to be followed by something, and I'm glad that it was a fighting bear, a fighting Polish bear.
Yeah, I've actually known about Wojtek for a long time and have been thinking about doing him for the podcast, but I was like, was that real or did I make that up? And then I looked into it earlier this week and was like, nope, that's 100% real.
That's wonderful. Yeah, it's like, was that a fever dream or is that real?
Or like you're going down a TikTok rabbit hole and you watch a million TikToks from this weird historical account where there's no profile picture. So I don't think that's very credible. I usually raise my eyebrows at a lot of the things they say, but they're like, did you know there was a bear that fought in the Polish army and he helped win a battle? And I was like, how did a bear help win a battle? And then I looked into it recently. I was like, oh yeah, the bear helped.
That's awesome. Thank
you. The bear totally helped.
Thank you, TikTok stranger.
Once again, thank you, TikTok stranger.
And thank you to all of our gorgeous and wonderful bony listeners. Don't forget to check out Atlanta Fringe Fest, the Fringe audio section, where you will find our episode of Anything Bones called Family Feuds in the mature audience section of the website.
So get ready for some language.
And the link is in our bio for that if you're interested. We love you, and we hope you appreciate your bones every day this week and beyond.
Yeah. Make a conscious effort to love those bones.
And as always, bon voyage.
Aw, Forrest. Goodbye.
Forrest, you nasty dog.
Forrest, you dirty dog. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Anything Bones. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Anything Bones Podcast, or email us at anythingbonespodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you to Nick Kruger for our spooky music and Stephen Vetteroff
at Chubby Scrubby on Twitter
for our jazzy vocals, and thank you to Camilla Franklin
at Camilla Strader on Instagram
for our beautiful bony artwork. Please rate, review, and subscribe. Because Joe jokes about it, but it is going to feel really empty in here without 4 dogs.
Yeah.
Now that we're used to it and we finally have a routine, and we can although we took them all out at the same time earlier, and I totally got 101 Dalmatians between all of them.
Oh, God. Did you get pulled?
Well, I just got all tangled up in the 4 leashes.
Yeah.
But
did you fall?
No, I didn't fall.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Because if you fall on the roof, there's a chance that you fall into the little rock garden where all the dogs poop and you can't fall.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that.
Well, because it's hard to see sometimes what's rock and what's poop. Because some people don't pick up the dog poop.
That's true. Some people are nasty.
Yeah, and you know what those people deserve?
To kick rocks.
You're much more polite than I was going to say. To freaking die. No.
They deserve to get all those poops thrown into their open window in the middle of the night.
Yeah! Guys, oh my God, Katelyn, come up from Portland and make poo bombs. Okay, so we have a mutual friend whose name I'll bleep here. It's but I once was breaking up with a boyfriend and I was home for the summer in Tacoma and he was not answering my calls. This is if you remember him at all. He was he was not answering my calls and he's not answering my texts, but I could see his car in the driveway and he had ghosted me for 4 days. We'd been together for months and I saw that he was there and we were walking by and I looked at her and I said, I'll give you $50 to shit in a bag so that we can put it on this guy's porch, because this friend is known to be hardcore. Like,
she would do it.
She would do it and do it well. With panache, with grace, really.
With flair.
Yeah. You'd watch her do it and you'd go, fuck, do I maybe want to be seen pooping in a bag? Like, I don't know.
Do I?
Did she just make that, like, cool? But I just think that story is so funny because she considered it.
Yeah, I mean,
she really did.
That's the only person that I would ask to shit in a bag.
Right? The only
for
person
me.
Who I would be like, are you locked and loaded? Are you ready to go?
Yeah.
You know what her excuse was that she couldn't do it?
She didn't have to poop.
Yes!